And I asked them, but you choose. This is your life and you choose. Because nobody else can change your life, only you. So the decision always, and I like to tell them, like the life where they are now, this is because they made some decisions in the past. And this is a reflection of the past decisions. Every decision doesn't matter if we blame our spouse or a mother or childhood or a teachers, doesn't matter. We made the decisions and we are in this situation where we are now. If we want a different life, we have to make different decisions.
Today we have Edina Viens calling from United States. And you were originally born in Hungary, right? You're from Hungary. So thank you so much for sharing your story with me. And like I said, it's very impressive. And you had a lot of ups and downs. And I first of all would like to acknowledge you and recognize your struggles and your ability to rebound, to persevere in all the difficult times. And the fact that you've been on the verge of giving up so many times, but you didn't give up, and you are doing this important job that you're doing right now. It's very impressive. So I would like to acknowledge you for that. And I will ask you to share a little bit.
Yes, I born up in a really dysfunctional family. My father and mother were alcoholic, and my mother was really aggressive. I wasn't sure what to do when I was a kid because I saw lots of really bad things in a family. So my mother attacked my father, sometimes with a knife or axe. And every week, at least like 3 times, the police came out. So that was always some big fighting. And we were really scared. And we also were poor. We did not have food most of the time. And I'm now 44, but when I was a child, we did not have even a bathroom in a house. We did not have water in a house. We had to go farther away and we had to carry in big buckets. And also no toilets in a house. So we always had to go out. This was the environment when I grew up. I had a sister at that time. My brother is 14 years younger than I was. So that's is a long period of time. And I became really depressed, but I didn't show to my schoolmates. So nobody knew that. They just saw that I'm so strong, and I was quite tried to show confidence when I was a kid because I had to protect myself. And
you mentioned that you, even when you were a kid and having, difficult conditions for yourself, you still were really open to help other people, and maybe even people came to you for advice. Did you feel that calling maybe already at that time, that you wanted to be someone that people can come to or rely on?
Mm-hmm. So when I was a little kid, I knew that nobody can help me, so I couldn't go anywhere. My grandmother lived almost 20 miles away, and we always went there by train. And it wasn't like we just went there and we visited her. And she was only the hope for me. But apart from that time, like summertime, we never met my grandmother. So I knew that people need help. I needed help, but nobody could help me. So when I went to school, sometimes in school, people are bullying the poor kids or who are not that attractive. And this happened in my school too. But I was always with them. So I always was around those people who were rejected because I wanted to show love to them.
Let's first talk about your love for animals. This is something that I think was important for you, because you worked for a long time with pets, right?
Yes, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So Yes, I always loved dogs. We had dogs, but they were outside dogs, not like now in this time, everybody, or most of the people who has dogs, they are inside. But I lived in a little village, and the dogs were just dogs, like animals, like it's not like pets, like here. It's not like cuddling them. It's just like protecting the yard or protecting the area or barking. So that was like an alarm. And we had two. And one of them was my favorite, and he did amazing things to me. It's like, you know, Lassie. That's a story about, yeah, I think everybody loves Lassie. And this little dog was like Lassie. When I went to school, he came with me, and he waited for me. Even when I had to walk like 5 or 6 miles, they knew which day, how many hours I spent in school. And when I came home, they came just like waiting for me. You know, they walked like 3 miles, and we came home together. So, and they had this unconditional love towards me. And when I had this pain and I couldn't talk to anyone, I couldn't tell anyone, even in schoolmates, nobody knew what's happening with me, not from me. I'm sure maybe the parents already, you know, talked about me, what's going on, but and they saw a couple of things on the street. My mother attacked me in front of other people, and sometimes there were my schoolmates, so they saw this thing. So the dogs gave me unconditional love. So when I had this pain, I couldn't tell anyone. So I went to my dogs and I talked to them. I cried, I hugged them, and one of them did a really amazing things to me. Do we have a time for it to tell it shortly?
Yes.
Okay. So one day when I went home from school, and my mother was already drunk, and she told me that night, if you go to bed and you fall asleep, I will cut your throat. And that was so scary. Like I was already, I think 14, so a teenager. But I scared. I didn't know what to do, because I knew she able to do anything when she was drunk. And I decided to escape. I couldn't stand at home that night, but where to go? I couldn't go anywhere. And I remember, oh, my grandmother lived around 20 miles away, and maybe I can go there. But I never was out of the village and alone. And even just a couple of times I went by train. And when I went out, I couldn't find my dogs. And we were poor, so these two dogs time to time went to hunting. So they climbed over the fence and they went hunting. So they were not at home. So I went to the station, but of course I did not have money. And anyway, that was already maybe 10 o'clock or something p.m. And I didn't know how to get there. I just knew if I walk on a train track, then eventually I will arrive to that other village. And from that station, I know how to get to my grandmother. So I started to walking on between the train tracks, and was so dark. I scared. I didn't know what to do, but I scared more from my mother than scared from the darkness. And I didn't know that time out of the city or village there are no lights at all. And I still remember I was 14 years old. That was super dark. I saw the moon and the stars, and the stars and the moon reflected from the train tracks. So this is why I knew where I am, I'm between these train tracks. So I walked there and scared. I remember half of the way there will be a big farm with big farm dogs. And I knew that if those dogs are free, so they are not in the tied up somewhere, that can kill me. But I heard something behind me, just coming closer and closer, and I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I knew that if I run, nothing happen. If somebody want to attack me or dogs, and then it stopped, this sound, and after I heard like dogs are fighting and screaming, and that was so horrible. And then I walked, and I just hope they won't attack me. And after maybe half a mile, I heard again this sound behind me. So I was terrified. And finally, when I turned back and I saw this thing is coming closer and closer, I realized that was one of my dogs. He found me. So is still touching me, because he found me. Even he wasn't home when I left. He felt that something wrong. And he just came after me and saved me from these dogs. And that experience like put a big stamp on my heart towards dogs, because I knew that this is the unconditional love. I love dogs, but everybody thought I'm crazy because you cannot work with dogs. And in school, I didn't do really good. And I knew that in that city, I could be just a seamstress, no one else. And even my grades were really bad, because lots of times I couldn't go to school or I couldn't study because of the environment where I lived. Of course, I can blame my mother for this. There are people who are in the same situation where they start studying because they knew that's their option, like a possibility to break out. I didn't have that. I never learned this. So I just did not study. But after a couple of months, I ended up to be a seamstress because 2 people left the school or something. So I could go to the school and be a seamstress, which I didn't like, but I did not have any other option. And I had to work as soon as I could. So I knew that I have to escape from home forever. So I have to finish the school, work, and then I can leave the house.
So when did you leave the house eventually?
17.
Do you have any at all moments where you were happy? One of them is, of course, being with your dogs, and like you said, you felt that unconditional love. Within your family, with your sister or brother, do you remember any moments where you were really happy and you felt that family bonds, family enjoying
You
the family
mean
time?
when I was a kid?
Yeah.
No. I had that moment when I started working on myself, and I look back and I had to find something like, okay, what can I find what was good when I was a kid? And it made me happy. And I couldn't find anything. So it looks like my subconscious mind just tried to lock everything out, so not to think about the past. But no, I really love my brother. We did not have too good relationship with my sister, unfortunately, but when we were fighting, my mother always took her side. I did not have a birthday with my friends, or she didn't let friends to have friends. If I had friends,
older sister or younger sister?
Older, 3 years older.
Okay.
It doesn't mean she treated her really well, because it's not. But when
it sounds like she was incapable to treat anyone well.
Yes, when I left this school and I went to the other one, when I became finally a seamstress, I had a girl. I thought, she is like my secret friend, and she is so nice. And that was like a girl class. So 30-something girls were in a class, and we had like a class picture. Everybody was on a photo. And this girl is just put her hands on my shoulder. She didn't hug me or she didn't kiss me. She just put her hands like this on my shoulder. And when a picture was ready, I just took home, I showed to my mother, and she beat me up. So that was so bad. I was 14 or 15, I'm not sure which year they took that picture. And of course, she continually did that. And I became adult. I couldn't talk to women. I didn't have friends. And when I saw a woman next to me, I had to escape from there. I had like a phobia. So later on, I already left my home, went to the movie theater, and the woman was next to me. I had to leave, or I had to sit somewhere else, because I couldn't have any contact with them. I felt this really bad pressure on me.
Phobia,
so I can see now how this line up together, what my mother did and how she talked and what happened. But that time I didn't know, so I couldn't socialize until one day I went to work to this factory, and I was thinking, no, this is not my life. And really shortly after, I always visualized dogs in my head. I didn't know when I was a kid I was visualizing. I just was so love with dogs. I don't know. I just love them because they give me this unconditional love. And every day I was thinking about dogs. They gave me lots of love. And one day I just saw in a magazine, what I already started buying every month, there was a dog grooming school, like an advertisement, but from like a job center. I thought I immediately felt that yes, this is it. I don't know what dog grooming is, but yeah, if there is an opportunity to work with dogs, yeah, I have to do that. And I was so blessed because 80% this job center paid for it, and in the same time, everything is lined up. I was still working in this place, but 3 days from the week, I asked them to let me go to the school, and I went back and I worked nighttime. When I went to the school, I realized there were women too. And I was thinking, okay, my mother is not here anymore, and I can change, but I can be what I want to be. So I put up a different mask on me, and I said, now I am so cool with women. And I decided to have friendship with them, and I felt so free. Like I could talk to women again without my mother hurting me physically or with words.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was really free. And I had lots of friends there.
And you were working with dogs, right? So it meant a lot for you.
Yeah, I was so confident. And we went back to the school, and when a professor saw me, the professor was who taught us the anatomy, ethology, and different things about dogs. And he came to me. I wasn't a groomer for half a year, and he said, I need you. I said, what? You need me? Why? And he said, I need you as a trainer, dog groomer trainer. I did not have experience, but you see, everything just lined up.
Yeah.
And this is why it's really important what we see, how we see the future. And I remember a day when I walked to work to that factory, and I said, I know this is not my life. And really soon is in a year, from that moment, I finished a grooming school, and everything had ended up to be a dog groomer trainer without any experience.
Wow.
So that was amazing. And that I also just put up, this is like when you change your mindset, who you are. And I was like, yes, I'm Edina, who is a dog groomer trainer. I immediately like my shoulders back, and I'm higher. I was standing taller. And it's
you
not
change your identity, right?
Immediately. It immediately was like a change, like I was this woman, and the next day is like another one. And I became a dog groomer trainer, and I felt that like, yes, I can do it. Of course, everybody scared at the first time, like, okay, I don't have experience. I could say, sorry, I cannot do that. But I said, yes, I will do that, because I knew that this can create a different future.
Yeah, beautiful. So that was almost, I know, of course, it's not that simple. It was almost you were one thought away, right? So you changed your thinking, you changed your image of yourself, you changed your identity, and you started behaving even differently. Like you said, shoulders back, you had a different...
I stand taller. That was amazing.
Yeah. At that time, so you said you were about 22, 23? What did you say?
21, 22 maybe.
20, yeah.
Somewhere there.
What is your opinion? What do you think? Why is it maybe easier to do this change of identity when we're younger than we're older? Because, for example, for someone who is in their 40s or 50s, it's almost like people don't think it's possible for them anymore. What's your opinion?
They can change anytime. They can change anytime.
Speak a little bit about Christianity. What did you mean when you said that you? Because as I understand, your mother was was Christian. I mean, not by her behavior, but she
or on
brought
paper
up.
maybe.
Yeah,
Because I'm not sure here in United States, but in Hungary or in Eastern Europe, most of the time people say, oh, I'm Catholic, or I'm Reformed, or I'm Baptist, because the family members, maybe the grandparents, were like Baptist or Catholic, and when a kid born, then they take to the church and they baptize the kid, of course just with nothing, even just a bit of water, maybe sprinkle, nothing else, and that person automatically become like a Baptist or a Catholic or whatever. But it doesn't mean spiritually they become. This is just some tradition. I believed in God, but when I became older, maybe 10 or a little bit older, I was thinking, if it's God there, why he just punishing me with this? It's not fair. I didn't do anything. I didn't want to born. And I turned away from God. I never I said, oh, is no God there, but I didn't trust him anymore. And when I started to turn to books like occult books or New Age books, but when I saw something they write about Jesus or God, I closed it and I didn't care anymore, because I didn't want God in my life. And I tried everything, this is why I went to different telepathic power or whatever, because I knew there is some spirituality, but I didn't know what and how to find it. And when I became a dog groomer and a dog groomer trainer, I went back to that school, and there were a couple of people, actually like 20 other colleagues in that place. And one man was a veterinarian, and he started to talk about Jesus. And I didn't care. I didn't want to hear about Jesus. And but I saw his eyes when we had a manager, like a main manager, and he was so rude and so mean to people. But this man was always so kind, and even when a boss was so upset with everyone, he was in peace, and I saw this spark from his eyes. So I went to the church, and I remember all the teaching, just like they talked to me, like I felt like the whole message is just for me. Of course not. Nobody knew who I was, and I was just like a little sand, in a big box. But that day I decided to give my life to Jesus. So I just decided I need this, because they talk about like Jesus took out away our sin, and if I give my life to him, then my life can be changed, because he will be my savior and my Lord. And I remember my grandmother, when we went to that church, a couple of Bible verses, like, okay, this is familiar, that's familiar, so it must be not a cult. This was important for me. And this was a really simple prayer, nothing else. And when they said, if somebody wants this freedom, they can come in front of the stage. And I was the first one who stand up and went out. I was crying that heavily. I couldn't even stand up straight. My stomach already hurted, because I cried like 3.5 hours straight. I couldn't see anything. It's just like, I have to go. I have to give my life, because it's so painful, this depression and what is in me. I need to go. And if he's got there and can help me, this is my last chance, maybe, because I tried everything. So I decided to go there, and I still remember that was 1999, November 14. And I still remember when I gave my life to Jesus. And I remember for our singers, when they were singing, and they were I see the bright and sparkling eyes, how they were singing. I was thinking I was there alone, I didn't know what's happening. But at that time, like 200 and something people also came to the front, and they gave their life to God. And that was a big turning point in my life, like a big turning point. And I met someone in a church, and I was thinking that was from God. And this was the other turning point in my life, because I had 2 years to be happy, and I felt strong. I never again took a pill, because I had medication. I had to take medication because I was in deep depression, and I had panic attacks all the time. And since that day, when I gave my heart to God, I never again took a pill, no one. And so my life has changed. But when I met this guy in a church, and I thought, oh, maybe this is what God wants. This is why I had to broke up with the other one. And I started to find signs from God. Oh, maybe this will be the guy. And I thought, yeah, this is 15 years older, this man, and absolutely not my type. So it must be from God, because this is not from my body. You know, it's not like my old me. This is something else. But unfortunately, we married in 6 weeks.
Wow.
6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
We met at Christmas and we were married in February 9. So
wow, that's fast.
Yeah, yes. And he took my papers to the office, register office. I didn't even went there. I didn't know how he did that, but he did that way. And I still don't know. But we married, and really shortly after that, maybe a week after a honeymoon, it came out like he is aggressive, and he beat me up like crazy, like really badly. I never was beaten up with even through my mother this badly way. And I didn't think ever, you know, how a Christian can do that, because, you know, I turned to God and I thought every Christian on the earth is just super nice, because my grandmother was super nice. And I was thinking everybody is that super nice. And this is why I didn't think too much about the marriage. You know, I was thinking, yes, everything will be good. I saw some signs, yes. And I saw something, what was like clue, but I didn't believe that, because I already see him, how he acted towards other people. He almost beat someone up in a street. But I was thinking he just wanted protected me. And that was a nightmare for 4 years. But because I became a Christian, I was thinking, how can I divorce this man? I cannot think about divorce, because if we married through, you know, God, how can we divorce? We cannot. It's just impossible. And I want to solve this whole problem. But he was beaten up really badly. And I don't say I was a really good, how I acted, because if I didn't like something, I argued, or I didn't like something, I told that. But I had boyfriend before, and nobody ever beat me up. But when I became a Christian, and I already much nicer than I ever was, then somebody just beat me up. I didn't understand. And then I started again questioning God. What are you? I'm praying. I'm praying to when I go home, everything will be fine and peace. And that was the biggest fight. And he beat me up even more, or sometimes almost killed me. And you know, threatened me with like he will shoot me down. So that was horrible. And I said, as a Christian, I live this life. How can it be? And but in the same time, that was when I think I mentioned in an email, I wanted to work with people. So I discovered there is a Christian counseling. I didn't hear anything about that, Christian counseling. But that was the first time I said, oh, I like that. I want to help people. Maybe this also come together, you know, I can help people now. And at the end, I met a lady in a school. She was around 70, close to 80, I guess. She was really elderly. And she told me her husband is aggressive for 40 years, still aggressive. And that was a turning point in my life. And I said, no, I cannot do this. But unfortunately, this was like a rock bottom for me, because I lost my, I don't say I lost my faith in God the way, like, I don't believe you are there anymore, but my trust, you know, like, where were you, God? Why didn't you help me? You know, I was like blaming him, like, what is it? What's happening with me? And I was thinking, I already finished the school. I wanted to help people. How can I help people? I couldn't save my own marriage. How can I help? And that's really broke me, because I knew that was my purpose. That was something in me, like helping people. And now I'm here and I cannot help anyone because this happened in my life. How can I be like trustworthy if I help other people? You know, this was in my chatter in my head. And I turned away from God and I went back to the world. And Christians saying this way, like, oh, I went back to the world, like left Christianity behind. And I just started to live a different life, and not a good one. So this was also like a turning point, like this transformation, but in a negative way. I turned away and I went downwards. Like I had a life like I did what I never did before. So, and that was for 4 years, and blaming God. And
so that was your darkest time, would you say? That
yes,
was the darkest time.
That was the darkest time, because I didn't understand. God, you pulled me out from this pit. You gave me everything. You know, I already healed from depression, and I healed from panic attack, and now I'm back there because my ex-husband were beating me up, and I went there even deeper. I was in more depression and I was in more panic attacks than ever in my life, ever before I became a Christian. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand why. And after 4 years, I left Hungary. I moved to England, and I worked in a chocolate factory because I didn't speak the language. I had to work somewhere. So I had to start my life again from scratch. And this happened already a couple of times. I already moved around 30 times or something since I was a kid. And one day I walked home. There wasn't a bus. They just said, go home. No, we don't have work. And I started talking to God again. To tell me what happened, why. And he showed me that I didn't want you to marry this person. You chose to marry this person. You know, God didn't put me in this situation, but I always thought this was him. And he showed me the signs, like, I showed you this, I showed you that. But you went after your head or heart or whatever. You didn't listen to me. And that was like a light bulb moment again, like, oh, wow, it's just a simple conversation with God. Just tell me what's going on. You know, people who are not Christian, they can think the subconscious mind, you know, finally wake up and talking to what's going on. And then you wake up like, oh, wow, I didn't know. And that's so clear. You can so clearly what's going on. But as a Christian, I talking with God.
Yeah.
I'm really spiritual. And that's again turned my life to the different direction. And I said, okay, God is still with me. He never left me. I was the person who turned away from him. That's why I couldn't see him. And I started climb up again, you know, came out from this pit, from this dark moment. And when I went to New York, I went to a church. And the funny thing is, in the same day, November 14, I gave my life again to God. It just happened in the same day, you know. And my life changed again. So I had more open relationship with God. And I started to listen to motivational speakers. I didn't do that because I didn't know. When I lived in Hungary, we didn't have internet. I didn't know anything about that. And I didn't know what's going on, but I knew I had to change something because it's not normal. I'm not this person. This is not me at all. But it's happened to me, so I had to break through again. But now it's easier because I had already experienced. And finally, because here I use the internet, and also I had lots of opportunity to watch different videos. One day I decided I have to improve my English. And I started to listen some podcasts, Christian podcasts, Love and Respect. And that was the first when I started to open up for self-development in a way how I like to do it. What I did before, but I did it alone. And now I see, oh, I have help for it. And I say, wow, these people are talking how I talking to myself, and these people are showing that like a mindset change. This is how I change my life. So that was so interesting for me, because there were people who taught us, teach this stuff. I said, wow, it's good. People are teaching that. And I like to teach people. I always did. So when I helped people, when I lived in England or Hungary, I always gave every information what I already knew. So how I broke through my depression or panic attacks, I had to do not just once when I became a Christian, then I felt like God took it away. But because of my aggressive marriage, really abusive marriage, I went deeper down in depression and panic attacks. So I had to came up from that pit. But that time I did it with, I changed my mindset. And I realized that's the same thing, exactly the same thing, what happened at the first time. Because when I became a Christian at the first time in 1999, then I had a mindset shift when I became I'm a new creation. I'm a Christian now. So that was my personality change. And then when I went down this deep pit, and finally, I talked to God, and he said, it's not me who wanted you to be in this relationship. Then I switched again my mindset, like, oh, so I don't need to be this way. And also I learned how to come out from depression and panic attack with mindset. So of course, I'm praying, and I use Bible verses lots of times, which is really good and really helpful. But I realized that the Bible also talk about the mind. And this really, I'm so interested about that, because I'm a Christian, so I want to go in a Christian way, and I just see this line up. Because God also said, you have to become someone else. You have to be a new creation. If you want to change your life, you have to become someone else. And that was also a live moment, like, oh, wow, this is like in the Bible. That's absolutely true and works in the same way. Amazing. So. And this is how I discovered the coaching also, because I was thinking like, coaching, what is coaching? And I said, I did this all in my life, and I didn't get paid for it because I didn't know. That's funny. But anyway, I like to coach people, and I really like to help people. But I coach only people who are really committed. I help everyone. I help everyone who needs help. But I only coach really committed people. Because I know that there must be like a really strong will, like yes, I want to change. I want to change my life. Without that, nobody can change. This must be something deep down to know is enough. I don't want this life anymore. And then there will be a turning point, like in my life many, many times.
Yeah. So what kind of people come to you? What do they want to change?
First, they don't know what they want to change. They just know something in them. They just know. I like to work with people who know they have a calling, like a big calling, but they don't know what that calling is. So we discover what that calling is. And sometimes people just stuck somewhere, and they say, I don't know, I'm here for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And I don't know it better. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. This is just who I am. And the question is, this is what who you want to be or become with the same thing, same person, or do you want to become someone else? That's your choice. And my main teaching is like, you have to know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's also a Bible verse. So lots of people are not honest to themselves. So most of the people are just blaming others. Like I blame God. I blamed everyone, like for my circumstances and my situation, but I was the main person who made that decision. I made the decision, and I made the decisions to stay with this person after when he first hit me, or the second time, or the 10 times, or the 200 times. I decided to stay with that person. God didn't pull me there and said, you have to stay here. That was my beliefs. Because I interpreted the Bible that way. If I'm married, I have to stay that way. God never talked to anyone to you have to marry to an aggressive person and this can beat you up or kill you, but you still stay. That's not a love of God. God is not that. Yeah, and this is why. So I help everyone, even on Facebook groups like Christian groups. I'm there because I like to help. But if somebody really wants a change and transformation in their life, they have to be committed. Because if they are not, I cannot work with them, because I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time, because that is, for me, is helping is really good for other people who maybe later watching this video, give advice to people. But if that person is not ready, they won't change. They have to be ready. Because if not, that's just a boost, like, oh, I can do it. And after 1 or 2 days, they go back to their old self. And nothing will change.
They also have to know, right? Like you say, know your truth. They also have to know what it is that they want to change.
Yes.
Because like you said, yeah, motivation, they can get motivated for a few hours or days, but not having the direction, they will not move anywhere, right?
Yes. And most people, including me, I did not have responsibility for my life, but I learned, if I want to do something in my life, I have to do it. I have the same possibility to talk to God. I don't need to go someone else, to help me. If they don't have a time, it's really good if you have someone who can guide you. But if not, you have to do for yourself your part. Jesus did when Lazarus died. Then he told to the people to roll the stone away. So the people did what they could do, and Jesus raised this man up from the dead. Like, we have to do our parts, and God will do the parts we are not able to do.
Beautiful. Yeah. What motivates you every day? Like, when you get up in the morning, what makes you excited for the day? What kind of feeling is that?
Everything, present, the future. Because when I started this self-development, I started to change my habit too. I wasn't a morning person. I hated get up early in the morning. So I was the person who woke up the last minute, and I pushed the snooze button 5 times or 10 times. I think when I moved here, just 5 times, because my husband wasn't too happy with that pushing always, in the morning. But one day I decided to go to the mountains. I wanted just to change everything, because I didn't want to be this person who I became when I came here. So I lost my confidence. And I said, no, it doesn't work this way. I'm not this person. I have to do something. I have to go back where I was, and I have to change it. So I went to the mountains. So I spent time with God. I started reading more, and I read a book, Miracle Morning. And I decided to get up early in the morning, and that's at 5. I didn't need to get up until 7. And before, I was just pushing the snooze button. I didn't want to get up, but I decided, yes, I want this. And when I came home from the mountains, the next day, the alarm went off, 5 o'clock. I was out, and I started working on myself. I started meditating, praying, meditating, visualizing what I want in my life. I wanted to be that confident woman who I was, or even more confident. And already that time I discovered coaching, and I said, I want to be a professional coach, not just like helping people, but I want to do it professionally. And something came into my heart, like, okay, I've worked with more than 20,000 dogs in my life for these 20 plus years. And now this is a time to help minimum that many people.
Yeah, open up.
So yeah, it was like minimum 20,000 people. So in my rest of my life. So that was a clear message. That was a new purpose. I still love dogs, but this is my new purpose.
Great, wonderful. So where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years on a stage, and I never liked to be, I never was that person who liked to be in a camera. Even in a church, I remember when we went to church, we did not have video cameras 20 years ago. And then when a camera sometimes had a bigger event and the camera turned to me, I was ducking down. And I did that like I'm searching something in my bag or something. My friends always were laughing at me like, what are you doing? I hated being a camera. I was that person. I wanted to break the camera if somebody tried to take a picture or a video recording about me. And when I started discover the coaching, and I love coaching people, but I'm also a teacher. I think this also came from when I became a dog groomer and dog groomer trainer. I felt like this is it. I like to teach people. So if I know something, or I broke through some obstacles, I like to share with other people. I want to help them. I didn't want they go through the same bad things for years and years when they can come out sooner. And I said, yes, but I can reach only the people if I speak to them. If I just speak to 101, that's absolutely good. But that's just one person, and I want to help more, and this is my mission. And I never thought I want to become a public speaker. I didn't even know what public speaker was. Like, it sounds a little bit silly, but I didn't think about that at all. And when I started working on myself, I really clearly saw in my mind, like, I'm talking to people and helping them. So,
yeah,
and I said,
I saw one of your videos where you said that you couldn't even ask for things in the shop when you were little.
So even up, wow, that was horrible. Even not just a little, when I was a teenager and older, there was a stamp I needed to buy to put it on an envelope. I couldn't buy it. I couldn't ask. I was terrified. And that's why when it came into my heart, I want to share what I know and I came through, and this can help other people. So I have to be on a stage to help lots of people. They said, how? I was crying. And this was last year, about the public speaking, not about the coaching. Like, how can I be? My English is not good enough to talk to people and help this way. I can do like a 101 really easily because it's 101, but on a stage for thousands and thousands of people, how? But I felt so deeply in my heart. And before that, this is what I think I made the first video in October 2020 about public speaking, because coaching is different. It's just easy. You don't need to even use a video, just a phone if you coach someone. But I like to do coaching. I like to do in a past, like face-to-face, because it's so easy. So I don't know, it's a good connection. Maybe that's why I like to be in front of people, because it's more connection. You can feel them. It's better than just through a camera. And I said, I have to do in front of a camera. I have to start a YouTube channel or something just to practice. And just before that, I was crying, how can I do that? I'm not able to do that. I hate to be in a camera. So what I learned, I had to switch my mindset. And I said, okay, this will be uncomfortable. Just remember what you did in your life in the past. Always when you had a breakthrough, that was uncomfortable, but you had to switch your mindset. If you want to do this, you have to become that person. And then it's just switched, and I did the first video. And after I made more, I had more than now I have on a YouTube channel. And I just saw this shift. And I said, okay, maybe a long way to go. And I still learning this, and always sign up for a new course to learn more and more about public speaking, because I know this is how I want to serve. This is how I want to help people.
And you definitely have great stories. You have very inspiring examples, and you have so much to share with them. I would like to, can you share also, where do you have social media accounts, right? Like Facebook?
Yes, my Facebook is easy, Edina Viens. So my name, they can find me. And there is, I think, 100% no other Edina Viens out there.
That's great. And also, I will subscribe to your
and
channel.
The YouTube channel.
And
the YouTube channel is the same. Everything is on my name.
Good, great. Yeah, I am looking forward to your journey. I think not long before you will be on the stage speaking to, well, due to COVID, we can't really do the big crowds of people, but we'll have to start small, right? And this is a great time for us to practice. So
yeah, it's really good and talk with you. And also it's a good, I wanted to start almost like this year. I said, oh, will be good to go like a Toastmasters to practice public speaking.
Yeah.
But it's a COVID here, so I cannot go out and I cannot socialize. And I was so excited to have more people.
Don't they do that online? Toastmasters online or something? Like
they do that, but some, I don't know if you ever was on a stage and talk to people, but it's so different feeling.
yeah,
I did.
true.
I was in different groups also, like not Toastmasters, but like public speakers.
Yeah.
And it's totally different. You can see them in a little
Screen, yeah.
square, and like now I'm talking to you, but I'm supposed to talk into the camera, but I'm looking into your eyes, and in our video will look totally different. So the eye contact is totally different on a camera than with people, and they can get some energy from a camera, but it's different when you just talk to them and you just pour your heart out.
Yeah, it's always different when you are in a group of people and you're physically present there. I agree.
And I love people, and I like to, like feel, you can see them, like how they react and what they feel. You can see or feel how they feel.
Yeah.
Or if some of them has some, or if somebody is suffering with something, sometimes just to know, you can feel what the problem is, so you can talk to them that way.
Yeah.
It's a little bit strange, but sometimes I had this feeling like, okay, I just talked to that person, and I know is a message to this person, or feel to share something to someone. And they said, oh, how did you know that? Or I don't know, I just felt that. I just in your presence, and I just feel it.
Feel it, yeah. What would just last question, if you had a message for someone who is in a dark place right now and is not sure where to go and doesn't know how to continue on for whatever reason, is depressed, what could you say that might make them start wanting to change their life or take a different direction?
Yeah, I would need to ask a couple more questions from them just to know where they really are. And I like to ask people, like, thinking about your life now and thinking about this day is your last day in your life. Maybe you are 90 years old, you are sitting in a rocking chair and thinking about your life. And your life is everything reflects the life you lived before, like how you feel right now, what you see. And they start to think about, like, oh, my life is miserable, nobody around me, no, I have no love around me, I didn't achieve everything, I feel nothing, I'm not good enough. And they just see the bad things what happened in their life, and they say, oh, the next 40 years will be suck, and it's just not great, I don't want to live in this world, and I hate it. But I also ask, like, do you have a dream, or how would you like to live your life if everything is perfect and something just magically happen, and every your dream just come true? What would you like? How would you like to feel? And when they start to think about that, like, what kind of profession you want to do, some of them doesn't know, but this is why I need more information from that particular person. And then they think I can go closer and closer to their dreams, because everybody has a dream inside that sometimes is really buried and they cannot even reach it. They just know they wanted to do something 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and it's not there anymore. But yes, they cannot see because it's so deep and so down, need to dig it up. So this is why. Do you like your life? No. Okay, how would you like to your life changed? Would you like some changes? How would you like to feel? How would you like to live your day? What is a perfect day for you? So they start to think. And then I ask them, okay, now imagine yourself in the same situation. You are in a rocking chair, you are 90 years old, same situation, but everything you ever wanted in your life, the feeling, the work, or everything what you really wanted, that's around you. What do you see? How do you feel? Who are around you? Who are your friends? And almost the same questions, but you know, is one when they couldn't achieve anything because they live the same depressive life and nothing changed because they are in a dark pit. And the other when they decide they want to do something different and everything come out really good. So they see these two pictures. And I ask them, but you choose. This is your life and you choose. Because nobody else can change your life, only you. So the decision always, and I like to tell them, like the life where they are now, this is because they made some decisions in the past. And this is a reflection of the past decisions. Every decision doesn't matter if we blame our spouse or a mother or childhood or a teachers, doesn't matter. We made the decisions and we are in this situation where we are now. If we want a different life, we have to make different decisions. And if you can, and I like to say that, okay, now he's 90 years old, and there are two versions, the negative and the positive. A negative, you can say, oh no, when it was 2021, then I had the opportunity to change my life because somebody already helped me to tell the truth. This is my choice. I can make my life work better. And this is my responsibilities, depends on me. And now I'm here and nothing changed. I didn't do anything. And they are in depression. But the other side, when they think, okay, when was 2021? Somebody helped me to show me the truth. This is my responsibility in my life. And now I live amazing life. And I don't mind to live because I lived a full life. I fulfilled my purpose. And I'm happy. I'm just happy. And I ask them, choose what you want to choose. Which one do you want to do? Which life? Because it's in your hands.
Yeah,
it's in your hands.
Making a decision and also changing your identity, right, and your mind. Like you in your videos, you also address that a lot. That if you want to change, you have to change your mind. You have to change the way you think and change the way you see yourself.
Yes. So unfortunately, not everybody change because it's like maybe sounds a little bit harsh, but they don't want to be bad enough. Because sometimes people are suffering, and I was in the same shoes. Like I was suffering and whining and complaining about everything. When was sunny, I was thinking too hot. When wasn't sunny, I said it's too dark or too cold. I always complained about everything. But I had to change my behavior. I have to become the person I wanted to become. Because with the personality, I also would say this, your personality that you have now, you cannot have a better life. You can have only the same type of life as you have now. In case to change your life, you have to change your personality. You have to change your yourself, really. You have to become someone else.
Yeah, that's what
you need a different personality. Yes. I love this because this is also in the Bible. Yeah, like we have to put on the new, we are a new creation when we are in Christ, when we born again. So it's the same thing, just in a Christian way. And this is why I really love to mention this, because it's so true. And I remember for every time for this moment when that was a light bulb moment, like now I have to change my direction. Because when you are at the intersection, you can decide which way to go. You can go to the left, you can go to the right, you can stuck there for years and years and go nowhere. But if you have a goal, if you know where you're going and you are doing the steps, even there are obstacles, you will reach your goals. But you make the decision, not God. God gave free will to everyone. And you have a free will, I have a free will. And this is why your life can be amazing if you do your part. It doesn't depend on your spouse, your environment, your boss, or you have a job or not have a job. You can change it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a good insight to take away, is that what we receive from God is a free will, right? And
yes.
When we blame something on other people, it's just a way for us to find an excuse, and our inability to take responsibility for our own decisions. Yeah. So would you say you now have you strong purpose and you're living with purpose and on purpose?
Oh yeah, I love my life. I always, since I became a Christian, and apart from that dark part, I try to be really positive and grateful. So I really learn gratitude, especially since I'm in the United States. I did this on purpose because when I realized I lost my confidence and I feel like I'm again no one. So I wasn't a dog groomer trainer anymore. I wasn't a salon manager anymore. That was my last job in England, but in a really posh, really elite salon. I was a manager, and I came here and I was no one. I couldn't drive for a while. I did not have even a license, so I lost everything, and I felt like I lost myself.
Yeah,
and I had to go back. I didn't know why. That was my question. Why this happened again? I already went through, like ups and downs. I know how to be confident, but I realized that my purpose is to help people. So I had to experience this again to feel the people, feel this in the people. I know, so know deep down how they feel, and there is suffering. So this is how I can help them again.
wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Edina, for your time. I am very happy to have met you, and it was a delightful interview. I enjoyed listening to your stories. I think you have so much to give, and through your stories, through your experience, inspire more people. And I wish you all the success on the big stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this interview. I really enjoyed that.